Hi, and welcome to a video about subtracting polynomials. In this video, we're going to look at how to use the vertical and the horizontal format to subtract two polynomials. So let's take a look at the problem. We're going to do this both ways. We're going to use the vertical format for this problem and then the horizontal format so we can compare and contrast. What we're going to do is we're going to subtract 4x cubed plus 2x minus 1 from 13x cubed plus 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. Now we need to kind of think about what this word from means. Be careful about the order. We want to take 4x cubed plus 2x minus 1 away from this polynomial. So 13x cubed plus 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 has to come first, and we're subtracting the other polynomial from it, 4x cubed plus 2x minus 1. So we need to kind of translate the words into this problem and make sure you pay careful attention to the order. All right, so let's do this one using the vertical format. If I'm going to use the vertical format, I'm going to write my first polynomial in the order that it's in, making sure I get every single term of every degree. So you can see I've left a blank space here because I don't have an x squared term. If you want, you could put a 0x squared there to hold that place, but that's important. Now, when we subtract these, remember that subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. So what I like to do is I like to turn that subtraction into addition, but then I had to add the opposite of every single term. And when I subtract a negative, that's going to become a plus sign. So I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to rewrite it as an addition problem because I've now turned my subtraction into adding the opposite. So let me rewrite that. Okay, so now I've rewritten that as an addition problem, which makes it a little bit easier to work through this. Now I can just add my like terms. Be careful when you're adding together the negative 5x plus the negative 2x. Remember, when you add two negatives, your result is a negative. And then again, here you have negative 2 plus 1. Oh, and I made a mistake there, so we're going to fix that. And that's going to be a negative 1. So always check your work and make sure that it makes sense. So we have used the vertical format to subtract those two polynomials. Now let's take a look at the horizontal format. Okay, in order to use the horizontal format to subtract these two polynomials, we're going to take the problem that we see right here, and we're going to do something very similar to what we did with the vertical format. We're going to take this subtraction, and instead of subtracting the two polynomials, we're going to add the opposite. So let me write that down quickly. When I add the opposite, it's going to look like this. I need to add the opposite of every single term inside the parentheses. It's a lot like distributing a negative 1. Now, once I have done that, I can regroup and collect like terms. So I'm going to use the commutative property, and I'm going to move my terms around and put them in order so that when I add them up, I get a result that would be the difference of my two polynomials. So I've taken my x cubed terms and I've put them together. Now I'm going to add my x squared terms. I only have a 3x squared, so that's the only x squared term I have. Now I'm going to grab my x terms. I have a negative 5x here, and I have a negative 2x here. And finally, I'm going to grab my constant terms. I have a constant term of a negative 2 and a constant term of a plus 1. So now when I add these together, or in this case subtract, I get 9x cubed plus 3x squared minus 7x minus 1. So now we can compare and contrast the two formats we used. It doesn't matter which one you use, you're going to get the same result. You notice here in the horizontal format, the one we just completed, we get 9x cubed plus 3x squared minus 7x minus 1, and using the vertical format, we also get 9x cubed plus 3x squared minus 7x minus 1. So essentially you get to pick the one that you're most comfortable with, but you should have flexibility and be able to use either format. I hope this helped you to better understand using the vertical and horizontal format when subtracting polynomials.